Sixers got the third overall pick this week in the draft lottery. Another year in the lottery. But could this be one of the last years in the lottery? At least Joel Embiid says he hopes so. Bob Cooney's been covering the Sixers for a long time. He's seen the different incarnations of this basketball team. We bring him on the air right now. Bob, how you doing today?
Doing good, Josh. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. So, I first want to get what your reaction was when the Sixers got the third pick, which we know is via the pick swap. What was your initial reaction? What was the initial thing that came to your mind when they got that pick?
It was funny. I was following the cult of Sam Hinkie on Twitter having their party, and their reaction was, terrific and screaming and hollering and all. And I look on Twitter also, and people that aren't fans of Sam Hinkie were kind of like, wow, another number 3 pick. He's had one that's played 13 games in 3 years in Joel Embiid, another one who's played probably himself into borderline bust in Jahlil Okafor. And they're like, meh, who cares? But this is a deep draft. And I think at number 3, the Sixers can really find somebody that can help them moving forward if they stay there, which I think they might. I think they might stay there at 3, and maybe a Josh Jackson falls to them, or a guy that I really like at the Aaron Fox. Maybe they go Shooter and Malik Monk, so that they have options.
You mentioned the options. Brian Colangelo said that you guys in the media this week that they're not ruling out any possibility, whether it's who they draft, whether it's trading out of the pick. When Colangelo says that, does it seem like the Sixers are being very open-minded about what they want to do, especially considering that whoever they draft, this may be the last time that they hope to be in the lottery for a long time?
Yeah, I'd say it's one of the things I kind of hit on this week in a column that I wrote, was that he almost sounded very Sam Hinkie-like in that he's preaching patience, although he knows what his options are, which is draft, which is free agency. I think it's incumbent upon them to look into all 3 very hard and figure out where they want to go. I don't think the team, Josh, is going to really spend big this offseason. I don't think it's going to be, anybody getting a max contract, anybody in the $20 million range would surprise me. But, they need shooters, and at number 3, should they stay there, they might not be able to adequately address that. So it could be a case where they spend some money. Maybe I've been an advocate of bringing back your son Ilyasova. Maybe going out and seeing what a J.J. Redick is going to cost you. Guys like that can shoot the ball a little bit, because you need to open up the floor with all the guys that they have.
Bob Cooney, who covers the 76ers for the Philadelphia Daily News. Bob, you look at this team as it's constituted right now. Simmons and Embiid both coming off of injuries. You have a combo guard coming off an injury as well in Jared Bayless. We still haven't seen this team, as it was constructed last year, actually play together. So how do you think that impacts the Sixers' decisions this offseason?
Yeah, greatly. I mean, are they comfortable? They brought in Jared Bayless last offseason to be that complementary piece with Ben Simmons. And so, if they were comfortable with it last year, there's no reason to believe they still wouldn't be comfortable with it. Is it a case, though, where maybe you could upgrade that, where you could get a younger version of a Jared Bayless? And maybe they're looking to do that. Maybe they could do that through draft or whatever it may be. So I think it's a little difficult. They wanted to see Simmons and Embiid on the floor together. They wanted to get an idea of how to best surround them. And obviously they didn't get to do that with Simmons being out for the whole season. But it's like you're putting puzzle pieces together almost without being able to see the picture of what it is. And that's a difficult thing to do. And I think that lends to a great reason why they shouldn't overspend right now.
Bob, you mentioned not overspending, but they have a lot of salary cap room. And one of the comments I've heard from the national pundits this week is that they are concerned that the Sixers don't spend too much this offseason, because the one quote I heard from one former NBA executive who works for another media outlet, he said that once you spend it, you never get it back. And if you make a mistake, you can never recuperate that money. Once it's gone, you're stuck with that contract. Do you think that in this offseason as well as next offseason, the Sixers are going to have to be smart because they still down the road are going to have to re-sign Embiid and then down the road also sign Ben Simmons, and maybe they think, well, we can't spend too much now because we're going to need that flexibility when the stars that we've drafted so high get their contracts?
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, when people talk about bringing in Kyle Lowry and things like that, like I like Kyle Lowry as a player. I don't like him as a fit here simply because the money that you were going to have to give him. You know, people say we have to bring in superstars to win in this league. I think the Sixers believe that they have two superstars in the making in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. So those are two guys that you're going to have to play. Dario Saric had a very nice rookie year. Mike, in my opinion, should win Rookie of the Year. And, you're going to have to pay him not too long down the road. You got another rookie coming in through this draft. So they're set up in a nice way in that, in my belief. I think that they could try to do something for the here and now, excuse me, without spending too much money, with having so-called budding superstars in their possession. But they still have other things down the road. They still have they might have two good draft picks next year. They have the Sacramento unprotected pick in 19, which could be a very high pick. So they're kind of in a good position where they can address the now, not go crazy with it, and then still have things in the future assets that are going to help them.
We saw them win 28 games this past season. That was with Embiid only playing 31 games and Simmons being out for the entire season. As we mentioned, no Jared Bayless at all. So if this is a team that can almost triple their wins from the season before with the roster that they had, what can we expect from them next season? Is this a team that can maybe get into that 8th or 7th seed in the East?
Yeah, maybe. The hard part is going to be, you're going to be relying on a bunch of people who have barely played any NBA basketball. Joel Embiid, as good as he looks, he's only played 31 basketball games. You're going to be relying on a rookie, whoever you bring in this draft, okay? Ben Simmons hasn't played a game. Ben Simmons has never played. Jared Bayless has never played a game like with Joel Embiid. You know what I mean? So guys that you're looking to really help you. Dario Saric has never played with Ben Simmons, barely played with Joel Embiid. Those guys that you're looking at to be your corner pieces, they haven't played with each other. And that takes a little bit of time in the NBA. You can't just roll out talent in the NBA and boom, it goes, especially when guys haven't, had any type of experience in the league. So I think it's going to take time. I think there's talent there. If Embiid is healthy, if Simmons is healthy, you got some pretty neat pieces. And moving forward, maybe we'll see more types of Januaries like we did last year when they went 10-5. Then we don't, and I think that's the hope of the organization.
Speaking of Embiid, him and Saric were two of the 3 finalists named for the NBA Rookie of the Year award, and we're not going to hear who actually wins until later next month when they have the award ceremony. But in your opinion, Bob, who do you think should be the Rookie of the Year and why?
Yeah, I would give it to Dario Saric. I know Brogdon from Milwaukee had a very nice season. Joel Embiid in his 31 games, by far the most talented rookie of them all. But to me, you got to play. A good saying in the NBA is part of ability is availability. You have to be there. You have to be there for your team. And he wasn't. He played 31 games. I mean, that didn't amount to enough, in my opinion, to give him the award. And I think Saric did enough. Improved throughout the season, gave you a little bit of everything. 81 games, was there every night, major minutes. I watched Brogdon also. I think Dario Saric should be the winner this year.
It's going to be interesting because if a Sixers player does win it, if Embiid wins it, he'll be the first player since Patrick Ewing. He'll have the least played games for a Rookie of the Year award winner since Patrick Ewing. But then if Dario wins it, he'll be the first non-American born player to win the award since Pau Gasol.
How about that?
So it's no matter what, you could have history here, Bob.
Exactly. And if I'm not mistaken, Ewing still played like 50-some games.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, I forget the exact number, but I think it was in the 50s. Like, that's a whole lot more. You know what I mean? That 31 games out of 82, that, in my opinion, that's just not good enough. Just not good enough. And so yeah, I would give it to Dario Saric. I think he should win. I think it'll probably be close. I know Brett Brown pulled me aside one time and said, wouldn't it be neat if for the third time in NBA history you had a tie and the two guys were on the same team for Rookie of the Year. But, yeah, I just think it has to go to Dario Saric.
You can follow him on Twitter at Bob Cooney76. Been covering the 76ers for the Philadelphia Daily News. Bob, appreciate you taking some time out of your morning and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Josh, you too. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.